Intense is an understatement for whatever he is. Jake Fromm said that about Kirby Smart. I laugh. It's one of the most obvious statements I've ever heard, Jake. I gotta be honest. I think that everybody has seen clips of Kirby Smart's just his speeches, the locker room speeches, the pregame speeches, the what he has to say at camp. I've got a couple stories. One is a practice story about Kirby Smart, something that I witnessed one time. It's been a while now, and I actually don't even know who the player was, so I think I can tell this story. I've got a personal story from Kirby Smart, a little bit of a quicker one. Intense is an understatement for whatever he is. It's a really funny way to put it. Jake from State Fromm, or whatever the nickname was. He is a lot more than just intense. He's intense in the details. He's intense in the preparation. He's intense in the way he talks. This is a very serious person, Kirby Smart is. I think that you gotta be a little bit of a psycho to be as good at something as that Kirby Smart is at being the coach at Georgia. At least that's one of the ways that you can get it done. And I think that psychos, I hate that I'm using that word because some people might take offense to that, but I don't mean it that way. You got to be a little bit off the wagon to be elite at certain things. And the demand of college football and a college football head coach is a lot. I think that probably adds to his blood pressure. It probably adds to his health. It probably adds to his mental state. And that intensity comes out, but that's just who he is. I'm going to go ahead and start talking about it. Ryan Curley from Dawg Post here, talking about Kirby Smart, the intensity. I'll give you a couple stories and just talk about, how he's been able to do this at Georgia. It wouldn't be happening without that level of intensity that he has. Our newsletter is linked down below in the description of this video. Make sure you're checking it out. I said in the most recent video that I produced on my own, sometimes they get jumbled around. This should be going out at 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning, but I don't like signing up for things. I like being a part of the Dawg Post newsletter because sometimes I miss out on stuff, and I learn about it through the Dawg Post newsletter. Yes, Dawg Post employee, Georgia insider Ryan Curley here. I miss out on things sometimes. I don't know every little thing all the time. And I get my news from the Dawg Post newsletter sometimes. So make sure you're checking out and signing up with the link down below. Just give us your email address, and that's it. It takes 2 seconds, and you're an elite Georgia Bulldogs fan. Kirby Smart's an elite Georgia Bulldogs coach. He's the best ever already. Just putting that out there. It's only going to continue, right? Georgia's going to keep winning. Dean called me today, and we were talking about Dawg Posts and the future of Dawg Posts and things like that, and we're just working on some stuff. And he asked me, how many championships do you think Georgia will win in the next 5 years? My answer was probably 1 or 2. If we're being realistic, I do think Georgia has more championships under his belt. Saying 3 or 4 in the next 5 years is really lofty. I think Georgia can definitely get 2. I just think it's going to be really hard to do that in college football. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they go on an incredible dynasty run. Maybe I'm wrong and they don't win one. You really don't know. What I do know is that Kirby Smart's intense. Here's my favorite practice story about Kirby. If you have never been in Athens or near the practice facility, you got to do it. You got to do it. 4 o'clock-ish during the fall, just go drive by Buttsmere, go drive by the facility, go park nearby, and you will hear Kirby Smart on the loud mic. He's mic'd up during practice. There's speakers, and he is just screaming all the time. He is calling people out. I just listened to a Brock Bowers interview that was 8 minutes long, and one of the things that they talked about, and that's a long time to listen to Brock Bowers talk. He doesn't say much. He was talking about how Kirby would get onto people. Nobody was safe. It made people paranoid. It made Brock Bowers a freak. One of the best Georgia players ever. One of the best football players I've seen with my own eyes, like in person. He was paranoid of getting yelled at by Kirby Smart during practice and getting called out in front of everybody. So one time, this is not even a Mike story, but I just wanted to give you an idea of how intense he is. He walks around on that thing, And whether he's close to you or not, you are subjected to get yelled at and to get criticized in front of everybody. And so part of the town can hear you as well. But one time, practice was being held in, like there was stuff going on the in the indoor side and stuff going on outside. Kirby was inside. I wanted to see what he was doing. A few of the walk-ons were working on this on this drill, and it was a simple handoff drill, like the simplest thing ever. And this was just walk-ons, and Kirby isn't even coaching these guys. He's not. He just happens to be walking right by when this happens, and someone just falls. He falls on the ground, untouched. Kirby grabs him by the face mask and screams some stuff that I can't say on here. And it was hilarious. It was really hilarious. But we're talking about a walk-on who, I'm telling you, I know the team, I know the roster. This was the beginning of the 22 season when this happened. I didn't know who this person was, right? So this was not a guy that was like in the depth chart or on the roster or anything. And Kirby took the time. A guy who wastes no time. If you have 20 minutes with Kirby Smart, you get 20 minutes with Kirby Smart. He is like that. This guy took the time out of practice. What are you, a freaking idiot? You can gather the rest of it. There was a lot more, and he didn't use the word freaking, but I mean, it is intense. At the end of the day, that walk-on, what he was doing at practice, that one little thing, it wasn't a big deal that he messed up. But Kirby went over there and criticized him as if he had the expectations that a Brock Bowers would have. And so it's intensity all the time. It's, I don't get to see him in settings where Kirby's just being him, his chilled out, whatever, if there is a version of that, his chilled out self. We're not friends. Right? I mean, and we have a work relationship in a way. I don't get to talk to him one-on-one. That'd be awesome. Kirby, if you ever want to talk one-on-one, you know how to find me. One time, this is my non-football related intense Kirby story. One time I was walking in downtown Athens, and so was Kirby. And we're passing each other. And he sees me from like 10 feet away. Stares. It's just like I felt like Superman's laser beam going through me, and I was like, "Whoa!" I would like to think that I'm actually one of the most realistic people on the Georgia football beat. Obviously, not just Dawg Post, but like other media outlets that cover Georgia. And I know some of you guys are not just Dawg Post viewers. You read and you listen to some of the other guys. I would like to think I'm one of the most level-headed ones, but my level-headedness has only really given me positive things to say about Georgia and Kirby, and I think that I do help out Georgia in a way as far as the positivity goes, so I don't know why I'm getting death stares, Kirby. And, you guys know the press conference story, right? Man, I don't want to retell this story, but you're getting a treat. If you don't know about this story and you've watched for this long, you're getting a treat. On Mondays, that is when the big Kirby Smart press conferences for the week during the football season. Monday at noon. It's a big one. All the TV stations are there. All of the people like me are there. And I had my camera set up. We record them ourselves. I had my camera and the tripod set up, everything. I think someone must have, with their foot touched one of the legs on my tripod or something. It doesn't, break and collapse. It just starts tilting over. I'm sitting in a chair 3 or 4 feet away from it. I've got my eyes on it and everything. It just starts in the middle. Kirby's in the middle of answering a question. I dive for it. I dive for the camera. I caught it with one hand. Nothing breaks. I didn't get fired from Dawg Post. Kirby pauses. Obviously, it's a commotion. I interrupted the whole press conference. I interrupted it. My camera and tripod did. There's a commotion. Everyone kind of stops. People are laughing. Kirby Smart looks over at me and he says, "Pressure's getting to you, doesn't it? Pressure's getting to you, isn't it?" Man, I caught it one-handed. Why don't you sign me up? I was a student at the time. Why don't you sign me up for the team? How many of you guys can do that? But it's intense everywhere. And he meant it. He wasn't even joking. And then I was a joke on TikTok for that, and I was a joke on YouTube for that. But it's intense no matter what he does. You can see it in these conversations. It's intentional, and I'm just glad I got to share a couple Kirby stories with you guys. Right? It doesn't always have to be just about football exactly, and it is all about football with Kirby. And I do think that Georgia's just been on another trajectory under him, and it's a pleasure to cover a program like this. And Kirby, if you're watching, it's because of you, dude. It's because of you, man. And I appreciate what you do because it makes my job a lot more fun. Thanks for watching. Links down below.